Listen, the P word is driven into segments for me, really. And them segments are about understanding what we do, how we do it, the ownership of how we do it, and the follow through.
Process.
Process.
Process. Like the process?
Process is the word, yeah.
Said I'm sure everyone's mentioned the P word, process, several times.
Process, it does process.
That's because that P word really does work if you buy into it. When I first used the word, people would laugh, and it gives me great joy now to hear people say about the process. So hopefully that gives you a little insight around why I use that word. And it really took me a long time to underpin everything in what we do here at Excel. And now everybody uses that word, process.
A typical day of prep for catering for thousands starts with the ordering, making sure that you're figuring out your ordering, figuring out your portions, figuring out the weight that you need minus any wastage that might occur. With some events, you are looking at half a ton of one vegetable, maybe even leaning into a ton of a vegetable. The carbohydrate alone for 4,000 to 5,000 will be 1 ton in weight.
We have a process here of elimination to make sure no errors happen, and my part in that process is logistics.
I'm the first person who see the menus. I plan everything, I organize, I do the specs, and I plan the whole organization in the kitchen.
I'm looking more in advance planning, so I'll give the guys a steer on production numbers so they can look at ordering, labour planning. There's a lot of backward thought that goes into everything.
First of all, when we get the information from the EBMS, I start planning. Then I place an order, then we get an order, then we count the order. Then after that, I divide the job according to their ability.
As we go into large events, we need to have the right areas, we need to have the right back of house, we need to have the right facility for us to be able to deliver that event for the enormity of 4,000.
It's hiring the space, it's getting Excel to give us the space, Excel to give us, the power.
Looking at everything from the floor plans, what their technical requirements are and their catering requirements, what operational resources we might need on the day, and then everything that really falls under the umbrella of planning before that, what equipment we'll need, what resources we'll need, what staffing we'll need, and essentially anything that we might need to put together in advance to make sure that we deliver a successful event on the day.
Our biggest challenge is to make sure that everything is put together in the right locations, so when that's picked up, that it goes to the right destination. Hence the reason process was put in place, jobs are signed out, and they're signed in by individuals who come and get them.
For every event front of house, we have to create a back of house area in a location that's suitable for us operationally, but usually in an adjacent hall, for example, and everything that goes into that, into building out a kitchen, getting walk-in cold rooms, fridges, and really creating an entire kitchen environment and back of house environment, replicating what we might have in our main kitchens, but in a remote location that's adjacent to the area that we need to be.
In that we build hot passes to send the hot food from. We also have prefab fridges that we can build and set up, and we put them in location, so all of the starters and all of the desserts can be built in location.
We're not having to manoeuvre things miles around the building from the main kitchen. Those jack stacks, if you load them up in the kitchen and bring them up, they've got to go across bumps in the floor, all sorts of things, and the finished product won't get to where it needs to be.
But I like good ingredients when it's seasonal, and that's when it's at its very, very best, which is what we've got here in the UK, some great ingredients right the way through the seasons. You can't beat the best British asparagus as you go into May, Jersey Royals that go with it, and even when you go into the autumn, even some of the tubers that you can put onto the plate and recreate some great dishes with that ingredient really elevates what we do.
We aim to reduce food waste as much as possible, but where food waste does arise, this is either separated into organic waste that's sent to our wormery and then processed into compost for use on our landscaping. Where it's not suitable for the worms, we then send it to anaerobic digestion, which is a sustainable sort of recycling method for food waste. And then where it is surplus food that can be used, that is donated to local charities, including one of our charity partners, Community Food Enterprise, that's very local to our venue.
You've seen how many deliveries come in, you've seen the enormity of it, and you've seen how smooth it has gone. You've never seen anybody running, you've never seen anybody shouting, you've never seen anybody get upset. You know, it really does run like that, and that's not because you guys are here. That's because that P word really does work if you buy into it.